Hey everyone, I'm Kyle, also known as Fascurreyn, and I'm joined here by someone who's not quite my co-host.
Hi, I'm the chosen one legend, Matt here. No, I'm Sam.
We have Sam, our editor, thumbnail artist here, because Matt's voice isn't working, so, that's cool. I'll be running the show this time, and Sam is here for me to make fun of him. So, that is the plan.
Wow. Okay.
Um, so yeah, we're here talking about all the gaming highlights from the last month. Timestamps will be in the descriptions, so if you want to skip around to any specific parts, have a look at that. But yeah, it's been an interesting month for gaming. What have you made of it, Sam, so far?
Not a lot. But other than the typical Xenoblade playthrough, which obviously you guys are covering in quite a lot of depth already. Check those videos out if you haven't.
Hmm.
A few other little bits and pieces, but more so just looking forward to things that are coming up over winter, to be honest.
Yeah, that's fair. I feel like it's been it's not been too special of a month. We've not had any crazy directs or anything, but we're not
Hmm.
completely devoid of news, so it's been alright. It's kind of averaged out. So I guess
Yeah,
we'll jump straight into our first section. Can't have a podcast without news, baby, if you're ready.
indeed I am.
Alright. So, the first thing we're going to talk about is maybe the biggest thing. It's the one that a lot of people have been looking at, and it is the Mario Bros. Movie. It's the trailer that's come out. We've heard all of their voices in action and a lot of the animation and just kind of the general premise. What have you made of it so far, Sam?
I I have mixed feelings still. I
Hmm.
do really, really like how the movie's looking. I
Hmm.
was not expecting the first poster when that dropped. Um, just the way they brought the Mushroom Kingdom to life. It actually reminded me a lot of the Universal Studios Mushroom Kingdom.
Hmm.
Just the way that it's been animated and all that. Um, the voices, I'm still sort of getting used to. I
Hmm.
think I think it's the same for everyone where we've all gotten used to the same voice actor doing the same voices for these characters for so long that we can't imagine them being voiced any other way. So Jack Black's Bowser, I do really enjoy. I find it quite comedic and
Hmm.
entertaining. Chris Pratt's Mario, I'm still sort of like, I think I need to hear more of it before I form a proper opinion on it. And I think that's what a lot of people are thinking because a lot of people are saying it just sounds like him. But he's apparently gone on to say that he's done a drastic voice change for this role. But I
Hmm.
just don't think we've seen enough of it yet to make a form a proper opinion yet.
No, yeah, I think the main point of contention in the trailer so far has been the voices. Is that it's like you say, everyone loves Jack Black's Bowser. I think it's the perfect casting, to be honest. And it's almost kind of crazy how like they made Bowser look like Jack Black while also looking 100% like Bowser. I don't know how they did that, but like props to the animation team for like getting that design and so well done. Um, I think outside of that, but yeah, the Chris Pratt voice is a big thing. Personally, I think like obviously it doesn't sound like the Mario we're used to. It's very different. And a lot of people are giving just a lot of criticism for it, which I kind of understand. But at the same time, I also really get that like having Charles Martinet's high-pitched Mario voice for the whole film might be a bit grating. And considering that it
Yeah,
looks like the lore of this film is that Mario isn't, he seems like he's from like Brooklyn, like in the Super Mario Bros. Super Show. It looks like it might be an isekai kind of situation, with like how he gets transported to the Mushroom Kingdom.
mm,
So I kind of get like that he just has a kind of normal voice where I see people have been theorizing that maybe it switches halfway through the film or something like that. I guess we'll see. But honestly, I don't mind it. We can't hear much of it, but I'm hoping that maybe we do get a little bit of that Mario flair more in, future lines that we may hear before the film releases. Um, Personally, I don't care too much that it's not a super, realistic Mario voice because it's more of a neutral fitting tone for the film. So I'm kind of chill with it. Um,
Yeah,
I,
it's one thing that I did think a lot about when they announced the movie. And I think a lot of people thought the same. What are they going to do in terms of the voices? Because a lot of them are like when we play the Mario games, they're not exactly fully voice acted or anything like that, apart from like
right.
Sunshine. We just hear small voice clips here and there, but imagine hearing those voices for an hour and a half straight. Would you get sick of them, or would you still enjoy it by the end? I think all of them being toned down a bit, I guess makes a bit of sense.
Mhm.
Um, Even then, like I remember seeing speculation about how are these characters even going to be talking as much as what they do in the games, or is like what was the target audience meant to be? It was just a big question mark. But now I think that we've gotten the trailer, we can sort of see that it's just a general movie, just with the Mario characters, really.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. It's kind of one of those things that we'll have to see more of going forward because I think overall, like, even let's say that Chris Pratt does like a very just like boring voice and it's like the worst case scenario if it's not a very good Mario voice. Let's say that does happen. Even then, I think it's going to be a spectacular movie. Like, I was worried, but, it's like you said before, the animation looks so clean. Just
Mm.
across the whole thing, especially the opening with Bowser just looked excellent. The rest of the voice casting seemed to be pretty good at least.
Yeah.
And I feel like the biggest thing was the references. Like, there were so many good references across the whole trailer. Were there any like that stood out to you that you particularly liked, or?
I I saw a meme recently in regard to the penguins and
Hmm.
the penguin that you can just throw off the
Yeah.
Super Mario 64 stage.
Yeah, no, it
um,
fits.
I thoroughly enjoyed that. Um, yeah, I think that was probably the highlight in terms of references for me. What about
Hmm.
you?
Yeah, I think that was definitely a high point of like seeing the penguin. It's like, oh, it's the penguin that you throw off in Mario 64. And then he goes, "Do you yield?" And it's like, wow, okay, that's wow, astonishing. Um, I I'm not sure what I would exactly put my finger on as like my favorite reference. I guess the thing I am looking forward to the most on that front is the poster, the movie poster we've seen for a while has quite a few bits scattered around, but also
Yes.
the part with Luigi going to Bowser's castle. Of course, of course we're going to be going to Bowser's castle. We saw it multiple times in the trailer, but having that Luigi part at the end makes me think that maybe we'll be getting like a Luigi B plot through the film, or something to that effect. And honestly,
I
like I'm
can
so
imagine
here for
it
that.
being like it has to have some sort of tie into Luigi's Mansion. Like I feel like
Imagine,
the
yeah.
I mean they put Luigi with a bunch of dry bones. There's got to be
Hmm.
some booze. I cannot imagine where there is no Luigi's Mansion reference. I think I'm trying to think of a Mario game where Luigi's in it and there's no Luigi's Mansion reference.
Uh, Paper Mario. All of those
Okay,
games.
that's a bit of a different scenario.
Playing as
um,
Luigi in like any regular Mario side scroller.
okay, but like any time that you go into like let's say Mario Galaxy, where do you find Luigi?
Yeah, I see your point. I
Yeah.
think that there's definitely. I feel like it might be just like a one scene for like 5 minutes or so, where it kind of leans
Mm,
into that, and I'm here for it. I
yeah.
kind of have an idea of like. I feel like how the general plot is going to go might be kind of straightforward. Is that Mario and Luigi are like plumbers and in Brooklyn, or New York or whatever. And then the name of the guy, the name has slipped out my head, but was it the lieutenant or whatever it is going to be in that real world. Lieutenant Chuck, I can't remember. But then, yeah, like Mario falls into a pipe and falls into the Mario world, and it's like, oh, you need to save the kingdom. So, he starts exploring the Mushroom Kingdom. Then Bowser becomes like a threat that they're aware of, and Mario like sets off to, go defeat him. And then I think at some point, like in the film, sort of maybe early on, Luigi's like, oh, well, where's Mario? He also jumps down the pipe, and then that's where like his B plot comes in, and then they probably, meet up nearer the end of the film to, see it out. With kind of Bowser's Castle possibly being the climax, but I'm purely speculating and kind of waffling at this point. But the point is that like it looks like it's going to rack up to be a really good film. And more than anything else, I think that it's got a lot of potential for sequels and like sort of more in both Mario and Nintendo as a whole on the movie front. I think there's a lot of potential that they could be building up to with a sequel that maybe does focus on like Luigi and Luigi's Mansion, or maybe it goes a different direction with the Mario series. There's a lot of different ways it could go on that front.
Yeah, I have seen a lot of speculation about like a Nintendo cinematic universe.
It's the dream.
With I don't know how I feel about this one, but with Sonic crossovers,
I'd be down.
I'd be down, but I feel like the issue that I'm having is that's meant to be a live action remake, whereas this is entirely animated.
That's true. I'm sure they could find a way to make it work.
I'm sure they could, but then imagine what's his name again? The actor. Imagine like him as a human versus Mario as a human.
Oh goodness.
It's literally New Donk City all over again.
Yeah. I feel like there could be something that works there. I'm not gonna like, put too many bets onto the cinematic universe being a thing yet, but I feel like this does open up at least things for like a Zelda movie and stuff like that. There's a lot of potential on that front.
Zelda and I'll round out. I can get behind.
Go on, yeah. Like, and I will round out this section by saying I hope we get a Mario Kart section in the middle of the movie.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, of course. It's the biggest, part of the Mario series. But anyway, I'll leave you thinking about that, and let's move on to the next part, which is going to be Scarlet and Violet updates. So there's been a couple of these scattered around. I've personally not kept amazing track of them. But, we've seen a couple bits here and there. They've been talking more about how, there's these different paths to go in the game. There's the regular story path of getting the badges. There's fighting against Team Star and other exploration. And in particular, one of the biggest things they've had as part of the marketing front is showing off one of the gym leaders, Iono, I believe her name is.
Yeah.
So she is... let's just be real. She's like an idol / VTuber. Like, that's literally it at this point.
Yeah,
the design screams
I don't think there's any other way to describe it. Like, she is giving off the energy that I think every other VTuber gives.
Yep, literally. It's the exact same energy from the stuff I have seen, at least. Which admittedly isn't much, so maybe this is wildly inaccurate. But, I guess it's a cool design, at least. She had all of her marketing things of, like, talking to the cameras and her Magnemite. But her big thing was showing off a new Pokemon, which was Bellibolt. Do you have any thoughts on Bellibolt, Sam? You are the Pokemon extraordinaire here.
I don't know if this is intentional or not. A lot of people have been commenting on it. But Bellibolt looks like the beta Politoed.
Yeah, it does.
And people love it for it. I can't really confirm or deny if this is the case, because I don't think the Pokemon Company would ever say that it is.
Right.
But if it is, I feel like that is actually an amazing thing. And there is a few leaks going around, and I know that with the different sort of mechanics that they're introducing, if that is the case, they're opening the door to a lot of interesting different forms of beloved fan favorite Pokemon that people also love the beta designs for. So I would be interested to see some more like that, but I still have a lot of doubts that that is the case.
Yeah, I understand that. I mean, it's possibly just a coincidence, but it kind of does bring on the point of more regional forms appearing, because they do love doing their regional forms at this point. Is there any ideas on like ones of those that you might want to see of your favorite Pokemon or anything like that?
I have a very deep soft spot for Gen 1's. A lot of people are going to hate me for this. Seal and Dewgong.
Are they particularly notable? I can't remember.
No, they're really
not. Okay.
They're like... I've had this discussion with a friend before where I was trying to explain to him that Seal and Dewgong are Gen 1 Pokemon. And then he was literally like, this is like my other nerdy Pokemon friend. And he was literally like, no, that's a Gen 5 Pokemon. I was like,
what?
Dude, no.
You're kidding.
Yeah, a lot of people... It's because he was confusing Dewgong with like Walrein.
Mm-hmm.
Or like Seismitoad and those Pokemon.
I was going to say Walrein is like Gen 3, isn't it?
Yeah. Walrein's Gen 3, Seismitoad's Gen 5. Yeah, it's a very forgettable Pokemon. I would love to see that Pokemon be brought back to life. And it's adorable. I literally have no other comments than it's adorable. I don't know. It's like the way I feel about Seal is the way that kid feels about corn. That's all I've got to say.
Don't bring that up on this podcast, Sam. Get out of here. We let you on for one monthly podcast, and this is what you do. Okay. Anyway,
I stand by what I said.
Anyway, let's talk about the other new Pokemon that seem to have captured people's hearts, and it is... Oh, I'm going to butcher the pronunciation. Greavard? Is that Greavard?
I think you can literally just say graveyard.
Okay, the graveyard Pokemon, the doggo. That is one of the new Pokemon. I believe it was Ghost type. It's got a very spooky but also very wholesome design. I really like it. Kind of like the Pikachu clones, we have, like, most gens like to have a dog Pokemon nowadays. Like we had, what's the name? Boltund, and then I can't even remember the pre-evolution's name now. Yamper, that's the one. This is kind of cool. I like it. Again, it's very wholesome. What do you think, Sam?
I love it. It's adorable. It's got my heart. I feel like any cute Pokemon I will love. I don't care if it's competitively viable or not. If it's adorable, I love it. I find it quite interesting, the concept behind it literally sucking the life out of people. I find my dogs actually do the same to me. I do love them, but they suck the life out of me. So,
oh wow. Okay.
I've got one dog who literally, if I walk in the door, she will just bring me her ball. And she will bring me her ball back and forth for hours and hours on end until I have exhausted myself. That's Chloe. Graveyard.
So rather than the dog being dead, you're dead. That's what we're getting at here. Yeah. Okay, brilliant. Has there been anything else that you're aware of that's like really recent in the Pokemon world? Because I think those are the main things, is just those Pokemon and then the big sort of overall, oh, look at these like adventures you can go on.
Yeah, well, there was actually, I don't know if it was mentioned, but Girafarig got an evolution.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Farigiraf, if
Yeah,
I
very
remember
clever
correctly.
name. I love that name.
Yeah. Um, the concept is not what I originally thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be just the tail becoming like its own head entirely. I didn't think the two heads were going to merge. But that was probably a big one for a lot of people. And I'm not sure if this was covered in the previous podcast, but Wiglet.
It wasn't.
It wasn't.
I can't remember for that one. Huh. Anyway, talk about it anyway. I don't think we did.
Wiglet, it's weird. I find it adorable. I wouldn't like group it with Seal and Graveyard personally, because it's quite literally just Diglett but white.
It's very long.
Yes.
It extends.
I do love bringing the convergent species through into Pokemon, because it literally just replicates convergent evolution in the real world, where they are completely different species, but they've evolved into something similar. It just adds that extra layer of depth to the lore behind Pokemon, and sort of, I like it when video games can, especially like Pokemon, because it's aimed at children, it's educating children in biology, if you want to look at it that deeply.
That's very deep for Pokemon.
Yeah. But at the same time, when you look at a lot of what you know about bizarre random things that might have helped you through school, where did you most likely learn them?
Pokemon? Is that what you're getting at?
Not Pokemon specifically. Video games.
What school did you go to?
A Catholic school, so propaganda
Okay.
and all sorts. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the matter.
Sure. Well, there you go. There's a lot of Pokemon stuff happening, and it will be coming out. Is it this month?
2 weeks from now, as of
Wow,
recording
it's
this,
2
on the
weeks.
18th.
Yeah. Oh goodness. Okay.
It's close, and we don't know. It's in the same boat as Sword and Shield, where they didn't reveal a lot before the release of the game. And I will say it's time to be careful for those who don't want to be spoiled, because review copies are out and people are playing the game, and a few photos have come out. Not of anything spoilery yet. But I would say around this time next week, you can probably expect some images to start going around. So might be time
block
to
Pro
put a little
Sapia
Pokemon.
Gaming on YouTube and just
Yeah.
go off Twitter entirely. That's the strat. So yeah, I mean that's good though. It's coming out soon. I won't be picking up personally, but I hope that it ends up being a good game that I maybe can get around to eventually. So, I guess with that, we'll move on to our third piece of news for this month, just to touch on briefly. And it is the Xenoblade 3 Collector's Edition. It has actually happened now for the UK. Now, I know, like, you've already had it, Sam. You've had it for, what, like, months at this point. You've been teasing us endlessly, so...
Yeah.
That's sad.
I've had it for about a month and a half, I think, at this point. When the whole pre-order situation happened, Australia and New Zealand were not affected. There was the initial hiccup of just the website not working, and then the following day it started working for us, because I guess either Xenoblade's not a big thing here in Australia, or...
That's why Australia's, like, mid. Anyway, carry on.
Anyways, but yeah, literally the whole, I want to say 5 months I've had it ordered and you guys have had to wait. I have been just relentlessly mocking you guys.
You have.
I remember James tweeted something and I replied with something like sobbing into my Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Collector's Edition art book.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
So
it was a
you've
lot
been
of fun.
enjoying it, is the point.
Yeah.
And
Well, the
we've all
worst
been
part is I
jealous.
can't fully enjoy it because I've still not finished the game, and I don't want to spoil myself with what's potentially in that book.
I know commenters like shame him for not having played it. Anyway,
Wait.
so for the UK, we had we of course there was the issue in America with ordering it because the website kept crashing and they clearly hadn't prepared supply properly. Which isn't a problem on like Monolith's part. I think that's Nintendo's decision-making team not really thinking through the popularity of Xenoblade nowadays. And just basically, long story short, the website messed up a lot, if anyone doesn't remember. And, the thought process was, well, it's been like maybe 2 months since then. Surely for the EU, they've like thought it out, they've prepared, they've made sure that the website's not going to crash. So, the day kind of arrives where like, subtly it goes out and that's strike one. The pre-orders are open without anyone knowing. People probably made a mistake. Strike two is that the website immediately crashes, and then strike three is they continue not to say a word about it. So it was just a massive mess with pre-ordering, but they eventually got it to work. Most of us got our pre-orders in. And collector's editions have, of course, arrived as well. So, yeah, with that aside, we can actually talk about what's in the collector's edition. So what have you looked at, Sam?
Essentially everything aside from the art book. I had a look at the first few pages of like the main characters' designs.
Right.
But beyond that, I have not looked further. Obviously, there's like the steelbook and all the other fun stuff that comes with it. I've actually got it like fairly close to me. I can see the box from where I'm sitting. But yeah, other than that, I've looked at basically everything else.
Cool.
I've not got too much I can say because I feel like my main focus and appeal of getting the collector's edition is the art book. As a bit of a nerd who loves concept art and seeing designs evolve, that's where my point of interest is basically always at. Steelbooks I'm not too crazy on. Like, if it comes with the item, I'll grab it. But
It's nice. Yeah.
I'm not going to go out of my way to get a steelbook, really. I take care of my things. I don't need extra protection for a video game cartridge.
True.
But what about you?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, outside of that steelbook and the art book, there really isn't anything in there. Because the game, of course, we already had, so it's kind of empty, but hey, I mean, I'm happy with it nonetheless. The box itself is really cool, so it's just nice to own. The art book, I won't touch on it too much, but essentially, it is really good. The artwork in there is amazing. They've got a bit of everything in there, characters and design ideas and whatnot. I feel like my favourite part of it, though, hands down, was the location section of the art book. Oh my god, it was phenomenal. Like, I can't even really describe it, but just take my word for it. Like, if you do happen to stumble across that section of the book online or see any pictures of it, like, every single piece of concept art for the locations in the game was just phenomenal. Like, some of the best artwork I've ever seen. It really looked like creative, and it's so much more than we even got in the game itself. So, like, yeah, an absolute highlight of the art book. Makes the whole art book worth it, to be honest.
I would like to know that I have never heard Kai speak like that. So
what
if
do you
he
mean?
has, like, go into essentially repeating like over and over and over again.
Okay, it was good, you know.
Yeah.
Got me some slack.
If it is good enough to make Kai become a basic white girl after 2 drinks. I'm sure other people will enjoy it.
Yes, you will enjoy it, okay. Shut up. Moving on, let's leave that. That's all the main news for the month. There might have been some other tiny bits, Bayonetta and stuff released, but we're not going to cover all that. That's all been and gone. It's just Twitter, full stop. So, let's move on to Games Time, baby, where we were thinking about what games we've played this month, and we had nothing. We had nothing. We've not... I mean, I've been playing Splatoon 3 all month again, but, I've talked about... I've sung my praises of that game. Sam here is not a gamer because he has, life responsibilities and stuff. I don't really understand that, but he does.
I have a mortgage, shut up.
Yeah, he does, life responsibility things, so... he's not a gamer. He can't be a degen gamer that plays Splatoon all day. But
my flame clock's ticking. I need to get a move on.
He still hasn't played Xenoblade 3.
I'm on chapter 3.
Yes. So what we have instead is we're going to... It's still Games Time, baby. But we're going to be looking at what we would like to play sort of over the winter period. We've got Christmas where, time off will be a thing for more people. And there's games that we haven't quite played yet that maybe we're looking forward to. So we kind of just want to touch on a couple of those instead and, talk about our hopes for playing it, our expectations, what we know of it already. So, Sam, would you like to kick us off with one of yours?
Yes, I'll start with one that we've briefly covered already, so I get it out of the way. Scarlet and Violet, I am really looking forward to it. I am really appreciative of the fact that they are moving away from just the basically one story, making it more than just a game that can be completed in a day, really, if you over-level your Pokemon. There's a lot more depth in it, and it's taken the elements of Legends Arceus and other just general feedback that a lot of the Pokemon community... I have feelings about the Pokemon community, but they do like to say that they don't get hurt a lot, which is partly true, and also partly for the fact that they can't make their mind up half the time. But moving on, it seems to have fixed a lot of issues for a lot of people. The Pokemon company Game Freak have sort of realized that a lot of their audience, I would imagine more so, their target audience is obviously children, but they do have a large following of adults, and they're catering to both because they understand children aren't entirely as dumb as what people make them out to be sometimes. So they can play this game.
They are the sole reason that Pokemon is so high selling nowadays.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm personally really looking forward to it. I think after the last 3 generations, 6, 7, and 8, a lot of people have sort of fallen off the bandwagon. But I still have hope. The Pokemon designs I've thoroughly enjoyed. They're a little ugly, but I think that's what gives them charm.
That is Pokemon, for sure. People have said that about me too, to be fair. So, Pokemon.
I don't lie.
Okay. Alright, fine.
I've seen you in person now, I can say that for a fact.
You can, unfortunately. So that's kind of your thoughts on Pokemon. Of course, that will be coming out soon, like we've said. I think that the game is... I hope it's really good. The open world elements they're trying to explore, I hope that they've executed. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. So I have kind of 2 smaller games that I'm looking at maybe exploring a little bit more. Of course, over Christmas I'm still going to be playing a ton of Splatoon 3. I've been just having an amazing time with it. And you know what? I've got I think 70 odd hours in the game, 60 maybe. And I've not even played ranked yet. I've only been playing story mode, turf war, and table turf. But anyway, and outside of that, there's kind of two roguelike games I'd like to talk about that I'd like to play over the next month. That if I do end up playing, I'll talk about next month as well, of course. The first one is Domekeeper. Now, Domekeeper's kind of the big roguelike game that's out at the moment. It's kind of where you crash land on a space planet and you have a dome that you live in, and there are like monsters on a timer that come and attack your base, and you have a laser to defeat them. But whenever they're not attacking, you have to dig underground and collect like different ores to upgrade your dome, make it stronger, get better at mining more, upgrade your defenses. And the purpose is to kind of get deep enough in that you find a special device that wards them off and you can escape the planet. So it's a really interesting mix of it's trying to balance your resources between using for further mining or fighting and, taking down these creatures that are trying to attack. It's just kind of one of those addicting ones that you can replay and just over and over and over again and see how you can optimize it and that sort of thing. So, that's Domekeeper. It's the big one. I'm hoping that I have a good time with it, and I think I will.
The way you described that just made me immediately go, hey, that kind of sounds like Pikmin.
It's not Pikmin, I promise.
I know it's not, but the way that you started that off, it's like, oh yeah, you crash land on a planet, you've got this dome, and you gather this and that. I was like...
it's just Xenoblade X's plot. There you go. We have to have another Xenoblade reference apart from the collector's edition, so there we are. Shoutouts to X. So the other game, kind of a smaller one, is a game called Slice and Dice. It's another roguelike game. It's like a turn-based one where you go into a dungeon with 5 heroes and they each have a dice that you can roll, so you can kind of keep re-rolling them like Yahtzee. And, their rolls will be things like, an attack that deals 2 damage, or 2 shield, 2 healing, 2 mana. And at the end of your turn, when you've rolled for all of your characters, you can kind of pick out what you want to use. Your enemies also have dice that they will use at the end of your turn against you. And then you just kind of keep going through the dungeon. You upgrade your dice for each of your 5 characters. You can upgrade their classes, because there's like a plethora of classes. There's like relics that you have in classic roguelikes, a ton of different enemies, difficulties. It's one where I only have the demo of it so far, just to get a feel for it. And I've beaten it 5 times. A run takes maybe 20 minutes, half an hour. And it's just so fun that I keep going back to the demo already. So I'm kind of looking forward to maybe playing the full game and seeing what more they have there. Just another fun, sort of turn-based game to make me rip my hair out, because it's a luck-based game. I've got my experiences with them, we'll say that.
I'm having flashbacks to Kai's very mid-streams. No further comment.
I might end up streaming them, we'll see. We'll get to plugs at the end, I'm sure. So yeah, what about your other game that you were thinking of playing soon, Sam? Talk about it, despite your life responsibilities.
Aside from playing Homeowner Simulator in real life and paying off my massive debt, Bayonetta 3 is a big one that I really want to try and get to. I've literally bought the game. It is sitting on my desk next to my Switch, which has been untouched for a little while. I really want to get to that at some point. I might even play a bit of Xenoblade 3 and then at one point take a little break from it to play Bayonetta. I did finish 1 and 2 in literally a day, a day for each of them.
Wow.
So I'm almost anticipating I could get through this in a day as well. That's if I have a full day that I can dedicate to playing the game. But yeah, it looks really interesting. I know that there's a few people that tried to sort of put a downturn on the game right before it came out. I won't touch on that too much, but it looks interesting to me. I think multiverses at the moment is a very big and popular sort of plot point for a lot of things.
Is that a spoiler or?
No,
Oh, okay, that's fine.
it's in
Did not
in
know.
all the game. Kai,
Oh,
I've not
okay.
played the game yet.
That's true. Okay, cool. Just making sure. I didn't know if it was or not.
Nah, there's a bunch of different versions of Bayonetta. It's quite. It looks very interesting. It's not the direction I was expecting the game to go into after the end of 2.
Mhm.
But in saying that, I don't think there's a massive overarching story in the Bayonetta series.
Mhm.
I've not played this game yet, so I don't know if there is. I could be proven very wrong. The comment section might come at me. um, but yeah, I'm looking forward to playing it. And yeah, that's about it for me in the next month. That's
Mhm.
if I get
Yeah.
more than 5 hours to dedicate to my Switch.
Yeah, I think Bayonetta's, of course, it's had a bit of a rocky start on release with all the stuff going on, but it looks like the game is getting good reviews overall and everything like that. So it looks like it's maybe sort of set up to be a good experience for you.
Yeah.
And I guess that is kind of it for today. Our Chosen One Legendless time is coming to a close, unfortunately. On the plus side, though, we will be getting rid of you, Sam, so that's all, that's all good.
Okay.
Yes, thank you, Sam, for joining me today, though. It has been a good one to
It
sort of
has
have you
not been a
fill in.
pleasure for me.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, you got to do the thumbnail now for rudeness. That's the rules. If you want to hear more from us, check out our YouTube channel. We've got a bunch of stuff there. We're also on all the other podcasting sites. Personally, I do occasionally listen back to my voice on Spotify and cringe at myself. We're
How
all
do you think I
there.
feel when I edit?
Of course. If you do want to hear more from us, turn notifications on because we will be posting a lot of Xenoblade based discussions over the next month or two. We'll be talking about the whole game and whatnot. I am going to do a little self plug of over on my Fascurreyn channel. When this releases, the day after is when I'll start uploading my highlights from Xenoblade 3 over to YouTube. And they're kind of cut up a little bit differently, so if you were at all curious about my experience with Xenoblade 3, then, over on my YouTube channel, it will all be there, kind of cut up into the more exciting parts and the cutscenes. So, look forward to that. And I think that's about it. Am I missing anything, Sam? What have I missed?
Um, I think that's it. Unless you've got some
Hey!
other upcoming stream highlights that you want to point out.
Well, yeah,
Um,
that's true. Over on Twitch, when this does release, I'll be back to streaming again, doing non-Xenoblade stuff, so there won't be any spoilers. I'll just be kind of doing a mix of everything, a lot of multiplayer, so if you have the Switch and you have online, then feel free to join in. Sam, you don't get to join because time zones, so.
time zones, bad
And lack of
Wi-Fi,
will.
um, Kai being mid.
Thanks.
No problem.
I guess we'll end it off there. So, thank you guys for listening to us ramble for all of this time. I appreciate it. And we'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye for now, lads.
See ya.
We did it. Yay.